So we have all probably at one point or another had this happen to us. It's often a terrible shame to have like a nice hardcover book, but then after time the back deteriorates and your spine breaks. This can happen with any hardcover book, but it happens particularly often with hardcovered Bibles. This because you use it quite a lot, you're flipping through it, laying it down, going back and forth. It gets a lot of use. And as a result of the shifting of the pages and so forth, you can develop problems in the spine of your book as it starts to rip or gets too late. But I'm going to show you a couple of relatively easy tricks to fix your spine and to prevent it from ripping further. About a year after I got this Bible, the spine started to tear. And so I then did what my first suggestion is, just tape it. I applied this tape about 3.5 years ago and it has worked flawlessly. Have not had problems since. Well, I guess that's not true. I need to do it again. I got the overhead cam here, and as you can see here along the bottom, it is tearing again. That is unfortunate. I think it's also helpful to show you why this happens. So you have your thin page here, and then your back pages are generally thicker. And what happens with thicker pages, they don't bend as easily. You need the thicker page to glue to the back of the book, but what happens is the page, because it's thicker, it tends to rip along a seam, like how if you fold the paper back and forth, it tears nice and easy. Now time is going to cause this. So where I fixed it here, I now have the problem on the other side of the paper where it's ripped as well. And so it needs to be fixed because pretty soon it's just gonna tear all the way along and my Bible will then be like this. So now my first trick is to use tape. You could use duct tape. I prefer Gorilla Tape because it's thicker, it's stronger, but it is also a little bit less subtle. However, nobody has ever commented on it on my Bible because they have never noticed it. So it actually does work to conceal it, works well. Now this can be done both to prevent the spine from ripping further or to completely fix it. Simply take your tape of choice, your cutting tool of choice, pull off your length that you need, and simply line it up just about at the end, then push it down all the way down to just about the end. Cut it to prevent overhang. I mean, that shows you how good the tape is. Can't even cut it right. That's why razor blades are nice. Then fold the tape back, put your spine back into position. Simply fill in the crease. Cut it down, and there you go. Solid fix. Nice and simple. You can stop there for a lot of hardcover books. This is all that you're gonna need. This book, it's called The Guide to Israel. I use it as a reference. I don't use it a whole lot, so I could get away with this, but you'll notice that on my Bible, I did 3 layers. The joining layer and then 2 support layers. This helped immensely. For this one, I'm just gonna do a second one to support, give it a little bit more. You make sure that you don't want to push down at the end. You can butt the tape right up to the edge of the book. Take your razor blade and just make a nice slice. And there you go. Easy fix. May not look the greatest, but it works well. And as I've said, it held together for 3.5 years on this, where the original spine didn't even last a full year. This was while I was at Bible college, using this every day, both in class and in devotions and all that. You'll notice that I have tons of highlights and notes that I've taken, and so I don't really want to replace this because I don't want to have to copy everything over. So I want to keep this alive as long as possible. So that's the first way. It's the way that I would suggest, and really all 3 of these ways, they only cost you $5. So even if you try it and you don't like it, you really haven't wasted anything if you then later go on and decide to buy a new Bible. My second method is from this Bible right here. I picked this up at one of those library mass book donation selling whatever things you want to call them. But you'll notice the pages butt up right to the bottom here, and there is quite a large gap here. I'm not sure if you can see this on the overhead camera or if you can see it on the main camera. But basically, this book was completely separated from the spine. As you can see here, this side completely detached as well. Now I got this like this and they did an interesting fix. All that they did was they super glued the back of the Bible to the spine. So you still have your crack here, still have your crack here, but it can open nicely because it's glued to the spine. Now you'll notice that the Bible will never separate from the spine because it's glued to it. This is different than an ordinary book where you paper glues it to the back and the front of the book instead of the spine. It's a nice simple fix, works good, and I'm sure this is gonna last a long time. And just to note, I wouldn't recommend taping and then gluing, as you're gonna lose some of the flexibility from the page because of it being taped. It's not gonna pull down nicely. And my last one is this book here. This book is a Hebrew lexicon parsing guide. It's just a language book. And I got this book and it had no front or back cover. So you can use this method to help repair, although I would recommend using super glue over this method. But if your cover is beyond repairable, this is actually a simple fix. Now, I picked up this vinyl, bought a meter of it at a fabric store for like less than 10 bucks. What I then did was picked up some Mod Podge and basically glued a cardstock piece of paper that overlaps on both sides and glued that to the vinyl as well. Now, it's a horrible job. It was the first one that I ever did, but I have used this for quite a while. It does the exact same thing as the super glue, except this is just adding your own cover. Works well. This is also a good technique if you want to recover your Bible. But there you go, 3 simple ways to fix any of your books, and you can try all of these with softcover books as well, but in that case, gluing is probably the better option. On that note, I hope that you found this useful. I hope that if you need to use this in the future, that you'll refer back to this, because when you have a book that you love and you don't want to get a new one, take the time to invest in it, to repair it, and if you really want a professional to do it, you can send it away and do that. But these are just some simple tricks to do it for around $5 to $10. So that's all that we have for today. So remember to know the word, do the word, and share the word. But as always, we do it in love.